Alright, we're back with more Final Fantasy XIV goodness. Kruznik X alongside Skate Legna, Sarah Walker, and Crimson Fang. When we last left off, Lise was going through one of her moments where she has a bit of reflection. And, yeah, let's just continue with the storyline. So we speak to Alfino and continue the quest with a Sultana's strings, because we gotta meet with the Sultana. Well, the question of how to put the Mad King's treasures to good use shows no sign of answering itself. Shall we be about it, Arnvald? I am at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own tasks. I'll organize a squad to head down to the ruins, and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send Nonimal my regards, Chris. And Oz, too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. Alright, to Ul'dah we go. So much time spent in Ul'dah. I practically know where I'm going. To the Chamber of Rule. Alright. You are expected, my lord. Please proceed. This has got to have voiceovers in it. I sure hope so.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy. The liberation of Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel. I speak of Rauban and his future.
Before I continue with this, I just want to say I love how they're using the old 1.0 music right now.
His rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Ul'dah home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Rauban chooses to remain in Ul'dah or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a Sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears. Might I have your company for a brief adventure?
Wow. That's mighty mature.
Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
So she's gonna be Lilira again. Awesome. Alright, we're off to the quicksand. Almost forgot where I was going there. There she is.
Perchance you remember Lilira, the merchant's daughter? This is the persona I assume when I venture beyond the palace walls to observe my subjects unnoticed. Ordinarily, Papa-chan would accompany me, but for this particular outing I need an advisor, not a minder. And that is why I requested your company. Over the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life, in every corner of Eorzea, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Now, let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the Gate of Nald.
Wow, Stone's Throw? Jesus Christ. Alright. And I just threw my keyboard aside like an idiot. Alright, let's ride.
Look upon this procession of tattered tents. These refugees camp in squalor, at the mercy of the elements and Thanalan's predators both. The city's mighty walls offer safety, but the streets overflow with people as it is. And unless blessed by the hand of Nald himself, no refugee could ever hope to afford a dwelling in Ul'dah. 20 years have passed since the fall of Alamigo, and 5 since the calamity. Yet the plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less. As a Sultana, the blame falls upon me.
You have done your best, Your Grace.
Then my best has not been good enough. Shall we press on? I would follow the road to Unholy Hair.
The Unholy Air, huh? Well, we all know the shortcut to there. That's why I always loved this old cavern. Oh, there she is. Yeah.
It was here, in this wholly unremarkable place, that my mother and father met their doom. I was but a child at the time. My parents were returning from an inspection of our interests in eastern Thanalan, when an untimely rockslide crushed their courage. To this day, It is not certain if the incident was simple misfortune or an expertly planned assassination. Raubon once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me the truth he assumed I must surely crave, but I refused. Even if my parents' deaths were orchestrated by the monetarists, we could only have brought their hirelings to justice. The true villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a biddable puppet, were ever beyond our reach. Thus did I plan to strip the merchants of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens, quite unaware of the consequences my actions would have for you and yours. I shudder to think how many goodly souls paid the price of my naivete. But I am no longer a child reciting words with witless obedience, and I will not be used as a pawn in the monetarist's damnable games. Forgive me my outburst. You are one of the few people to whom I can speak my mind. Come, let us return to Ul'dah and visit the Colosseum.
Teleport time! Was Skaith really going fishing? Anyways, off to the Gladiators Guild. Alright, is Sarah here, or did she... There they are. That was so wrong. So wrong, dude. So wrong. Alright. Well, Crim's being naughty.
From the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years, I simply signed where I was told to sign, and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come from that ignominious chapter in my life, for it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Raubon. The match I had been invited to attend was not at all what I expected. They had pitted the Bull of Alamigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinkered though I was, I would not stand for so obvious an injustice, and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another, and my royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned of the gambling ring which had arranged for Raubon to die on the sands that day. Regardless, my intervention meant that Raubon had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did. And when he knelt before me to receive the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theater. But as you know, Raubon is a man of his word. Though it took him another 5 years of fighting on the blood sands, he amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the syndicate. And then I had my blade.
Please, no more of my voiceovers for this voice. And another flashback, courtesy of the Echo. Alright, we get to see Raubon fight. With 2 arms. Ooh! Ooh! That was brutal! Is it bad that I Raubon's armor?
Your Grace, you mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Sham. Raubon!
Your Grace.
I know it's only noon, but I'm too drunk to hold this baby.
So too shall I keep mine. With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all Uldar. And so, as tradition dictates, Raubon Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last. Long live the Sultana, and long live Uldar!
And that is how he became a prominent perch. And that is how Raubon became a constant perch.
Words cannot well express what that man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Sham's love for me is that of a grandsire for his grandchild. But upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants for counsel. Raubon, with the authority of his syndicate position, was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me.
Well, that's interesting. I think I will take the silver pieces this time around. Let us continue.
We must make haste. My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan Sworn for long, and there are other places I would visit. To the Azareth Ossuary.
Meaning the Thaumaturge's Guild. But yeah, so that's how Raubon became a prominent Lalafell perch. We're getting a nice little history lesson here. Voices, no voices? Damn it. Voices. No voices. Okay, anyway.
When the calamity threatened, Raubon led the Alliance forces into battle on the plains of Cotonou, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louisoix would have the power to rouse the 12. Since that day, I have made a custom of visiting this shrine during each of my little excursions. Here I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices, and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion because you have led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of a monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be a Sultana worthy of the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles facing Ul'dah. I have chosen my path, Chris. With Ala Mhigo now freed from Imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees.
That's good.
Already, many displaced Ala Mhigans seek to begin the long trek home. To facilitate that process, I have made a small contribution, an artisan school in Ralga's Reach for any who wish to learn new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive, and this time, the Ul'dah Treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question.
Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees?
A wise suggestion. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucer is in order. Its proprietor is a member of the syndicate, and he is one of the few who pay refugees a fair wage. I wonder, are you acquainted with Godbert Mandeville?
Why him? Why him? Why him? We know Godbert Mandeville too well as we had to rub oil on his body once. Come on!
Then I need not explain his eccentric nature. Let us make our way to the landing, and I will see that word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Godbert should be only too glad to receive us.
Oh God, why do we have to deal with him? Why did I make that suggestion? Then again, we probably would have wielded the same results had we suggested a member of the syndicate. Alright, off to the airship landing. Oh, Krim never did that mission, did he? Alright, to the airship landing. Which is now easily accessible, thank God.
I have ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. I must confess to some excitement.
Alright. We ride. So, yeah, just to explain a little bit, during one of my previous live streams, we did a few quests in the, in Camp Bronze Lake, and one of them was catering to the needs of pretty much all the patrons there. And one of them was, well, none other than Godbert Mandeville. I'm sure everyone else took the Aetheryte, but I took the airship because... Alright, here we are.
I had heard descriptions of its splendor. Yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. No! I couldn't possibly... We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin! Godbert will be expecting us. Come, let's head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations.
Oh, she wants to play. Where's the lounge again? Oh yeah, the Manderville Lounge. We'll take the Aetherite from here. Because I am not going up all those stairs. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have to. Do I? Nope. Going up. Whee!
I believe this is where we ought to meet Master Mandeville. Shall we sit while we will wait his coming?
Oh, God. My apologies, Your Grace. I have kept you waiting.
No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice.
When my son's good friend and the Sultana herself come calling, there is no more important engagement.
As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Thanalan. You are aware, I am sure, that many of Alamigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland. And you are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter of how it might be best be distributed?
The unusual circumstances of our meeting, and Your Grace's choice of companion, would suggest to me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is stop. Taxing Uldar's wealth to save Alamigan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea.
You oppose my proposition?
Most emphatically. I agree with Your Grace that the refugees must have housing and employment, but what profit is there for Uldar in this arrangement?
Profit? After all you have done for Garabania's displaced, I thought you the very last person to seek to benefit from their misfortune.
Forgive me, Your Grace, but you appear to be laboring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavor to support one's fellow man. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save the refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it. And then we must consider Uldar's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of you spending the nation's coin, not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Alamigo, it is unlikely they will applaud your generosity. Surely it is not Your Grace's intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill.
Indeed. Then any support I pledge to the refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people of Uldar.
Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship with the returning Alamigans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects.
You have given me much to ponder, Master Mandeville. I thank you for your candor.
And for once, he's actually not wearing just his underwear. I think that's the best thing of all, is that he was so... He thought the Sultana important enough not to just wear his underwear and that tailcoat. But anyways. The Sultana's resolve.
Prophet. The thought never even crossed my mind. But standing about lamenting my naivete will not do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Chris, are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? If my attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business.
Well, I do.
Ordinarily, I would not trust any agent of the East Aldenar Trading Company. But if you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying to distant Kugane and speaking with him on my behalf. Eager though I am to visit those shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you will travel as adventurers are wont to do, I shall await your report by the Aetheryte in Uldar. A fair journey to you, Chris. And a swift one, if you please.
Alright, off to Kugane. Sarah's not a happy camper. Alright, to the Ruby Bazaar. Yeah, I know. I shall wait for, I will wait for Sarah. But we're gonna take a... Well, actually, no, we won't take that quick break. Alright, let's speak to Hancock.
Chris, to what do I owe the pleasure? Or are you here on business?
I beg your pardon? Her Grace the Sultana would have my opinion on how to best invest the wealth of Uldar. My dear Chris, I have you to thank for this recognition, I am sure. And I am flattered that you came to me. Truly flattered. But why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master? Upon matters of profit, there is no living soul better qualified to advise Her Grace than Chairman Lolorito, a man whose morning exertions are said to fill his garderobe with gold. I should be happy to arrange a meeting for you, say at the Scion's former headquarters in Danlan. The Waking Sands would seem a suitably neutral venue for negotiations, don't you think? Fare you well, Chris, and may your dealings prove fruitful. Jesus Christ, they have us going all the way around. Let's take a quick break and we will be right back. While we do while we're taking that quick break, I'm gonna switch my controller around because this one's about to die.